Hey there, bold one. Did you know that most people who set resolutions don't actually keep them, which is why I don't believe in setting New Year's resolutions. But there are still ways, much better ways, to achieve your goals than setting New Year's resolutions. For me, that's like dieting. It's like radically changing the way you eat for 2 weeks and then expecting to keep that weight loss up for the rest of the year. It's just not going to happen. The only way to make real and impactful change in your life is to do it slowly in a way that you can actually keep it up. So let's talk about what that looks like. First of all, it means setting real goals that you can actually achieve. The best way to make sure that you can achieve the goals you set is to concentrate on setting goals that you can control. So, what does that look like? Well, there are three things and only three things that we have control over. We have control over what we think, what we do, and how we perceive the things that happen to us. These are also the very same things that we cannot control in other people. So, if one of your goals is dependent on somebody else making a decision, for instance, casting you in something, that is not a goal that is within your control. That means you have to reframe it. What is it that you need to do in order for them to understand what it is that you bring to the table? Do they know you're alive? Do they know how talented you are? Do they know what kind of roles you play? Do you have material that showcases these things? Those goals, for example, are all within your control. Whether or not they make that final decision to cast you, out of your control. The other upside to just concentrating on the things that you can control is it's just going to take a huge weight off your shoulders. You are going to be able to just spend your time doing proactive things that actually move the needle in your life and in your career instead of banging your head against the wall trying to get other people to change the way they think, change what they do, or change the way that they perceive things. So, what's one way to change how you think? I've talked about this in other podcasts. I'll put the link above. But in any case, catch, cancel, correct just very quickly is to become aware of the thoughts that you have that are negative. So, this is concentrating on the very first thing that you can change. You got to become aware of the thoughts that you have in your head that are messing you up. And here's the thing, we all have like 12,000 thoughts a day. And of those 12,000 thoughts, roughly 9,000 of those are negative, which is just mind boggling. So I want you to start by bringing that ratio way down. And the first way to do it is to become aware of the thoughts that you're having that are having a negative effect on your life. And you can do this by keeping a journal for a few days. Just every time you catch yourself saying something unkind. Because honestly, as actors, we often show more compassion to the characters that we play or to our colleagues than we do to ourselves. And self-esteem starts by showing yourself compassion. So I really encourage you to speak to yourself as if you were your best friend. You would never, for instance, say your best friend messed up an audition. You would never sit there and say to her, "Oh my God, you're an idiot. You're never going to work again. I can't believe you didn't remember your lines. I can't believe you let your nerves get in your way." You would never say any of those things. You would say, "Oh, I know that this must have really meant a lot to you, which is why you were so nervous. And what can we do in the future to keep you from freezing in the moment and forgetting your lines? So what are ways that you can ground yourself?" These are the things that you would be saying to your best friend, right? So treat yourself like your best friend because you should be your best friend. You deserve that from yourself. So that's the first thing. Become aware of it. Then what I was talking about just now is canceling it, right? And something else you can also do, and this is what I do all the time, the catch, cancel, correct. The cancel part of it is where I will literally just ask myself, does this even serve me? Why am I thinking this? Like, why am I thinking, why did, you're an idiot from forgetting your lines or whatever it may be? Like, just that does not serve me. What serves me is to find out why I did it, get to the root of the problem, and then figure out a way to fix it so that it doesn't happen again. So, catch, cancel, correct. Make that a part of your daily habit, and you will find that what you think will begin to change. And that is the first part to creating more self esteem for yourself, which then translates to having higher confidence and being more magnetic, more charismatic. This is how you take back your power. So, something else you need to think about, I know we're all in a hurry to get to our goals, to achieve our goals. But the thing is, you are exactly where you need to be in your life right now. There is no regretting what's happened, and there is honestly no hurrying what hasn't happened yet, because you are, again, exactly where you need to be. So know that if you're not where you want to be, that there are still lessons to be learned right here and right now. So think about what are the things that you can learn about what you're doing, and what are the things that you can change about what you're doing to get where you want to go. Because the thing is, the same old actions, the same old strategies, the same old is going to give you the same old results. So if you want something different to happen, you need to learn a lesson or take on some new skills, learn some new capabilities, whatever that may be, so that you can then apply those to your new strategies to get a different result. Also, remember that imperfect action is always better than no action at all. We, and I am pointing the finger at myself here, we can all get so caught up in wanting everything to be perfect. And while the sentiment of that is beautiful, that really is a beautiful thing. It means you want to put something out that you're proud of, that you feel really good about, that you put a lot of effort into. But sometimes we can get so caught up in the circle of perfection that we never actually put out the thing that we want to put out. Whether that's emails to casting directors, a new show reel scene, a new headshots. Really, there are 1,000 different ways that this shows up. And the problem always presents the solution. So think about whatever your problem at the moment is. And then within that problem, there is the solution. I'll give you a perfect example of this. When I first returned to acting 13, 14 years ago, I was very rusty because I hadn't acted in 16 years. And because I was rusty, I was also lacking confidence. So what did I do? I began to reach out to coaches and bring them to me in Munich to get the training I needed in order to gain the confidence I needed to relaunch my acting career. So whether you need to do something that big or you need to do something much smaller, like shoot a new show reel scene, whatever it is, get it out there and you can always make it better. And you can always remove it. That's the beauty of editing, right? We can edit stuff in our materials, in our life even, right? You can't delete it, but we can overwrite it. So keep that in mind. Imperfect action is always better than no action. So here's something else that can often really hold us back. It's imposter syndrome. Sometimes we find ourselves in a situation where we feel like other people are above us in the hierarchy of where we want to be in our lives because they've achieved a lot of things that we want to achieve and we feel we haven't yet achieved. And the beauty of this is if you just embrace that and see it for what it is, because what it is you are stepping outside of your comfort zone and into areas where you are not 100% on even footing. And that means that you are stretching yourself. You are literally stretching the boundaries of your comfort zone. And just by taking the actions to stretch the boundaries of your comfort zone, you are going to find that your confidence is getting built. So remember, when you feel like you don't belong or you're an imposter or whatever it is, that is just a sign that you are growing. So embrace it. And another thing that can really trip us up as people and as actors, of course, is comparing our journey to somebody else's journey, especially when we feel like, oh, they're very similar to me. First of all, embrace the idea that you may hold two conflicting thoughts at the same time, two conflicting feelings at the same time. That's what makes us really interesting as human beings. And it's also what makes us really interesting as actors. Conflict, right? So understand that conflict is a part of the human condition. So when you're jealous of somebody else, you can acknowledge that, but what it boils down to is that you want something that they have. But what you also need to realize is that they are showing you that it's possible. Because if they can do it, you can do it. When you realize that, then you need to turn your focus back to yourself and just start to ask yourself some questions. What can I learn from this person? Maybe take them out for a coffee and ask them what's going on in their lives. First of all, you're probably only comparing yourself to their highlight reel, which is their social media. And of course, nobody ever posts anything that isn't really, really positive, or barely anybody does. So you're only seeing like the 10% of the iceberg. You're not seeing the 90% of the work, of the outreach, of everything that they've been doing to achieve whatever it is that you're seeing and that you're coveting. So again, turn your focus back to your own journey and ask yourself what you can learn from them. And if you actually can reach out to them and talk to them, I think you'll find that making that connection with someone will actually make it easier to truly root for them as well. So let's break it down. Moving forward in 2025, don't bother setting a resolution unless that resolution is to start focusing on the things that you can control. What can you control? You can control what you think, what you do, and how you perceive the things that have happened to you in your life. And these are the exact same things that you cannot control in somebody else. In fact, so much so that really try and get into the habit, you can make this your New Year's resolution, of identifying the things that are within your control and letting go of the things that are not, because it's just a recipe for frustration. The other mindset that I think is really important to embrace is to always try and be coming from a place of a beginner's mindset. Because as soon as you feel like you know everything, you are literally slamming the door shut on learning anything new. So if you're always approaching things from hey, I'm just here to learn, no matter where you are in your journey, right? If you're always approaching things from that point of view, you are open to receiving. And it really helps to stop the imposter syndrome, because you're not trying to be anything you're not. You're just saying, I just want to learn. I just want to get better. And you are embracing that part of it. Which, when you do that, especially with other people, and you let their expertise shine, that is also another really beautiful way to create connections with people. And it's a beautiful way to show your vulnerability, which also builds bridges and is super important, not only as a human being in building real relationships, but also in showcasing what really is interesting about you as an actor. Because nobody wants to see a perfect person up on the screen. Even our superheroes have their vulnerabilities, have their flaws, and it's those things that make us love them. So don't forget that when you are letting people into who you are as a human being and as an actor. Always remember to use comparison to propel you forward instead of letting it become a roadblock. That is the proof that something actually will work. And you just need to figure out what it is that they're doing and then start doing those things yourself. You also, in 2025, really need to own your time. So, are you making the best use of your time or are you wasting your time? Hey, nobody's perfect. I'm guilty of this as well. I sometimes get into the doom scrolling just like everybody else does. But becoming aware of it is the first step in stopping it. So, do that for your thoughts as well as the actions that you do that are not serving you. And definitely, you can make it a resolution to let go of perfectionism. Nobody's perfect. And trying to chase perfectionism is just a recipe for being disappointed. The truth is, the more authentic you are, the more you lean into who you truly are, your real vulnerabilities, and I'm not talking, people, about like wearing your heart on your sleeve. I'm just talking about being real. If you are dealing with an illness, you are dealing with a tough breakup, you are dealing with something difficult in your life, it doesn't mean you have to let everybody in on that. But it also doesn't mean that you should walk around acting like everything is perfect. You can say, hey, I'm going through a really tough time right now. I'm not ready to talk about it, but I'm dealing with something. That's honest, that's truthful, that's authentic, and that's vulnerable with boundaries. Vulnerability with boundaries is super important. Know who to share your vulnerabilities with or the extent of your vulnerabilities. And lastly, learn from your challenges. Look back over 2024 and pick out your 10 biggest challenges of the year and ask yourself, have I fixed these? Have I started to take the steps to overcome these challenges? And if not, what are the things that I can do today that are in my control to get these challenges done and over with and leave them in 2024 where they belong? So if this has helped you, please like and subscribe to the channel. Also, I am an actor's career coach. My thing is I help trained actors who've been in the business for at least a couple of years to finally understand what it is that makes them stand out, infuse that into all of their marketing and networking, and finally begin to get the opportunities to audition for the roles that they deserve. So if you feel like you're an actor who's been doing all the right things and still you are not getting the opportunities that you know you're ready for, then either leave me a comment down below and I'll reach out to you, or you can make an appointment straight off. Let's start the new year off in the right way and figure out what your challenges are, where you want to go. And if I can help you, I will explain to you exactly how I can do that. And even if I don't think that you're a good fit for what I do, I'm still going to try and help you figure out what your next best steps are from there. And it doesn't cost a thing. So I hope to see you very soon. And until then, you stay your bold and beautiful self. Happy New Year.